are getting into lesson 7. Oh, I'm so excited. Lesson 7 is a beautiful lesson because we are going to be applying all the amazing learning that we've done so far in Module 3 to multi-step word problems. So we're not introducing any new skills. We have enough skills for now. We're just going to kind of take a break, and then we're going to have a chance to practice all of these amazing skills. Adding fractions, subtracting fractions, showing that using models, precise models that are neat and carefully shaded. And we are going to look at some fairly complicated multi-step word problems, but you guys are so good at tackling these giant monsters. We are also going to be using our strategies for word problem solving. Read, draw, write. Understand the problem before we start calculating. So let's take a look at some problems here, guys. I shared with you guys after lunch that I actually recorded this video once before, and my final answer was the incorrect answer. So at the end of the day, I was telling you guys, oh, okay, well, I just have to re-record that video, and then I'll post it to YouTube. I am feeling really frustrated. I'm feeling big feelings because right after you guys left, I recorded the video, and then at the end of the video, do you know what happened? I went down here to click stop video recording, and I had never started recording the video. So frustrated. And then, do you want to hear something else? So I was feeling very frustrated. I'm like, okay, Mrs. Calamaris, calm down, use your strategies, just do it again, move on with your life. So then I recorded it again, and do you guys want to know what I did after I finished the problem? I went down here to stop video recording. For the second time, my friends, I did not record the video. I'm feeling so frustrated, but I decided that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. There's a lesson to be learned through all of this frustration. So this is, for those of you keeping track, this is my 4th attempt at this problem. So I'm pretty comfortable walking through this problem. Perhaps that's a lesson in all this. So I'm sharing this annoyance with you guys because I know what it's like to become frustrated in math. I'm feeling quite frustrated myself, but I want you guys to know that I'm persevering for you. I need you to see this problem because it's awesome and it's a wonderful synthesis of all the skills that we've been learning. And now I'm just going to be really paranoid to make sure, yep, we are recording. Okay, great. I got an update on my computer, and starting a screen recording is different. And, okay, so let's go. So, I explained in a really wonderful way a few times before, 3 times actually, that Nishka is going to be the star of this problem. I also want to remind you guys that when we are working on word problems, we need to read, draw, and write. Read the problem, draw some sort of visualization, and then write our calculations and the final answer. So let's first, shall we, read the problem. For Mrs. Calamaris, this is my maybe 7th time reading it. Nishka, our very own, spent 1/3 of her money on a pack of pens, 1/2 of her money on a pack of markers, and 1/8 of her money on a pack of pencils. What fraction of her money is left? I think this problem is really interesting because we're not looking for how much money is left. We're looking for what fraction of her money is left. So I'm going to draw a pie diagram, you guys, because pie speaks to me. It's my love language. I love pie. So let's go ahead and draw a pie. This pie, this circle, represents all of the money, okay? I'm going to try to be as proportional as I can, but it's not perfect. Please note that 1/3 of Nishka's money was spent on pens. 1/3 of her money was spent on pens. Oh, and I have a low battery. You guys, the struggle for Mrs. C on this Wednesday afternoon is real. Okay, we're just going to be flexible. Also, I'm realizing that Mrs. Kleinkoff is watching this video. Mrs. Kleinkoff, This is teacher real life. Walking over to the cabinet and plugging in the computer. Okay, so Nishka spent 1/3 of her money. We don't know how much money that is. We could say it was $1. We could say it was $1 million. All we're actually not worried about how much money there is. All we are worried about in this problem are fractions. Fractions. That's all we are concerned with. So 1/3 of the money was spent on pens. 1/2 of her money was spent on markers. I can show 1/2 of the pie pretty easily. There we go. 1/2 was spent on markers. And then 1/8, a slice kind of like that, was spent on pencils. She went on a school supply shopping spree. What we're left with, you guys, is some mystery fraction. We're left with some mystery slice of the pie. We're not sure what fraction is left over, and that's what we're going to be investigating in this problem. Moreover, I think it is worth noting that we need to seek out the yellow portion of the spending. We need to find that is really not a lovely yellow. I was picturing this to be like a bright yellow. No, is that chartreuse? We're seeking to find this kind of muddy yellow portion of the circle. The muddy yellow portion of the circle represents the fraction that was spent, the fraction of her money that was spent on pens, markers, and pencils. Or that represents those fractions that are given to us in the problem. 1/3, 1/2, and 1/8. Those are the fractions that are represented in this yellow portion. We need to figure out, what fraction did she spend? That's going to be our first objective. We can figure that out by adding those three fractions together: 1/3, 1/2, and 1/8. Okay, please remember that this entire circle represents her money, and this entire circle is one. It is one whole. Okay? Think of all of the different fabulous ways that we can represent one whole. We can say one whole is equal to 2/2. One whole is equal to 3/3. You guys know literally infinite ways to represent one, because anytime the numerator and the denominator are the same, that can be simplified into one whole. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We are not going to add together three fractions simultaneously. We're going to add 1/3 and 1/2 together, and then that sum will be added to 1/8. Once we have those sums, we will have the yellow piece of, well, I guess it's not a piece, we'll have the yellow portion of the pie. So we are going to add these together with modeling. You guys note that 3, 2, and 8 are not the same numbers because you are mathematical genius wizards. So we need to find a common denominator before we can add these numbers together. So 1/3 is going to be modeled with columns. 1/2 is going to be modeled with rows. Here we go. Columns, done. 3 columns because our denominator is 3. I am shading in one of the columns because I'm showing you 1/3. Let's go on to 1/2. 2 columns, 1, 2, done, because our denominator is 2. I'm shading in one of the rows because I'm representing with this model 1/2. Done. Okay, we need to add these together. We can't do that until we find a common denominator. Here's how we find a common denominator. I'm going to lay 2 rows on top of my 3 columns, and then I'm going to lay 3 columns on top of my 2 rows, thus revealing that 1/3, we still have 1/3 shaded. It's also equal to, you guys, 1, 2 out of, how many squares do we have here now, or boxes? 6. Booyah. Now we have, I must say, I feel like each time I do this video, keep in mind, this is my 4th time doing the video, I feel like I'm really cruising here. Okay, 1/2 is equal to, now, 3 boxes shaded out of 6. Cool. Now I have 2 equivalent fractions. Now we can go ahead and add those together because they have a common denominator. They have a denominator that is the same. 2 plus 3 we can do together is 5. 2 6 plus 3 6 is equal to 5 6. So Nishka, our girl, spent 5 6 of her money on pens and markers. Now we need to, so we have that. That's very crucial information. Brilliant. Now we need to add 5 6 together with 1/8. 1/8 of her money, keep in mind, friends, was spent on pencils. So you guys are probably grinning with joy as you are realizing, oh, look, we don't have common denominators again. Woohoo! This gives me the chance to model. I love modeling. Hey, same. Let's do this. 5 6 plus 1/8. We're going to model 5 6 with columns, 1/8 with rows, and here we go. I need 2 rectangles. Keep in mind we're adding, so this modeling looks a little bit different than the modeling that we were doing in class today with our subtraction. So just be very mindful of what operation we're using. Right now we're adding. 5 6, I need 6 columns. 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe the straightest lines I've ever drawn. I'm going to shade in 5 of my 6 columns because 5 is our numerator. That represents the amount of shaded columns. 6 is our denominator. That represents the amount of columns that we have drawn to begin with. Great. So I have 5 6 here, and now I'm going to draw 8 rows because 8 is our denominator and 1/8. Watch me go. 1, 2, look at those straight lines. 3. Practice really does make perfect because I must say my first version of this problem was a hot mess. Practice, you guys. That is the lesson here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Holy mackerel. Those are beautiful rows. Good job, Mrs. C. Thanks, Mrs. C. I'm shading in 1/8. Over here, I shaded in 5 6. We have 1/8. We cannot add these together yet because we don't have common denominators, but I know how to find a common denominator. You guys do too. You're going to lay 8 rows on top of your 6 columns and then 6 columns on top of your 8 rows. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we go. We've shown that 5 6 is equivalent to, we have the same amount of shading going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 8. What is 5 times 8? It's 40. 40 shaded boxes now of how many total boxes is this rectangle separated into? Well, I have 6 columns and 8 rows. 6 times 8, 48. 1/8. In order to find my a common denominator, what I'm going to do, is lay 6 columns on top of my 8 rows. 3, 4, 5, 6. Thus revealing that 1/8 is also equal to 6 shaded boxes now out of 48 total. I know there's 48 total boxes here because it's an array that is 6 wide and 8 high. Hot dog, we can rewrite our expression now that we have our 2 equivalent fractions. Rewrite our expression, which is 40/48 plus 6. If I sound excited right now, it's because I am, because I'm realizing I'm almost finished with this problem and it's recording. Yay me. 40/48 plus 6/48. You guys, what is 40 plus 6? It's 46. Thanks. Our denominator is 48. Nishka spent 46, this yellow, she spent 46. This is a crazy looking fraction. We can simplify it, but I'm not even worried about that right now. I want you guys to worry about the fact that Nishka spent 46/48 of her money on school supplies. That is amazing. There's a small portion left over that she did not spend. This whole circle represents one whole. If I wanted to represent one whole with a fraction that has the same denominator, what would that fraction look like? Indeed, it would look like 48/48. This circle represents 48/48 of her money, or one whole, all of her money. So if she started off with one whole, all of her money, and she spent 46/48 of her money, what does she end up with? What is this fraction here, you guys? Well, 48 minus 46 is 2. Our denominator is 48. I can simplify this into 1/24th, but please know that both of these fractions, 2/48 or 1/24th, is our final answer when we are asking what fraction of her money is left over. I did it. Secret word, you guys, is how many times did your hardworking, persevering math teacher record this video before I was successful? How many times did she do that? Wow, we cannot wait to practice this stuff, these kinds of problems with you guys tomorrow. As you can see, it's going to take a lot of focus, concentration, meticulous modeling. You guys have all of these things, so bring them with you in the morning, and I will see you then. Have a great afternoon, guys.